Hi there. So in this video, we are going to learn and we are going to build an identical simulation model to the 3D model we created in our last lecture. So this time we are going to be using the process flow tool. The process flow tool is more abstract and theoretical than FlexSim's 3D modeling tool, which might have some appeal to some user. The other advantage of using the process flow tool is that we can create custom model logic much more easily in this tool. So by experimenting with both methods of simulation modeling, we will learn which method is more appropriate for our specific simulation project. So in this tutorial task, we are going to be learning some of the basics about navigating inside of FlexSim's process flow tool, and we will build a process flow model. So the most important elements of the process flow tool are labeled in the following image. So you can see these are the start block, these are the activity, these are the shared asset. So this is the process flow, okay? So adding and connecting process flow activities. In the first step, we will create a process flow. The first thing we will need is to choose the type of process flow we will make. For this tutorial, we are going to make a general process flow because this type of process flow is ideal for creating theoretical simulation models that can run independently of 3D models. Then we will begin adding and connecting some activities to the process flow. An activity is like a chunk of logic or a logical operation in a simulation model. There are a number of different ways we can add and connect activities. In this step, we will try out all of these methods. For now, we will add the activities to our process flow without an explanation of what each activity will do. We will learn more about what each activity does in step 3 of the tutorial when we are finished with this step. So our process flow should look approximately like the following image: source, acquire, delay, release, sync, resource. So if we pay close attention, we're going to see that it's pretty much similar to the last model we created using the 3D model. So we have got a source block, we have got a acquire block, we have got a delay block, we have got a release block, we have got a sync block. So the acquire block is just acquiring the resource, which is the operator. Okay. And this sync may be the happy customer and this may be the unhappy customer. So let's start. So to add these activities, make sure you're using the same simulation model that you created in the previous tutorial task. So we're not going to be creating any new model. We are going to be working on top of the model we created previously. So let's click the process flow button on the main toolbar to open a menu. Select add a general process flow to create a general process flow and open it as a separate tab in the center pane. Also notice that when the process flow view is open and active, the library changes to display the process flow activities. Okay, so these are the process flow activities, and from the library and the token creation group, drag an interarrival source activity into the process flow. So let's start. So in our model, first thing we're going to do, we're going to click on the reset. We're going to close the customer service metrics. So we're going, yeah, let it close. Okay, now that we have closed it, the next thing we're going to do, we are going to click on the process flow here on top. Now we are going to create a general process flow. So here is the process flow, and we can see some libraries here which have changed. So we are going to be taking an interarrival source and we're going to drag and drop it on the main pane. Now we have created a source element here. So now let's see what's the next task. Once we have done that, from the library, under the shared asset group, drag an acquire resource activity and drop it on top of the source activity. Notice that the two activities have been snapped together or stuck together or grouped together as shown in the following image. They are now automatically connected in a block, also sometimes referred to as a stacked block. So let's do it. So here under the library, let's look for this acquire task or acquire resource. It should be here somewhere. Okay, under the shared asset, we can see here is the acquire task. So I'm just going to click on it and drag it and drop it on top of the source block, and this will create the stacked element or the grouped element together. Okay, so once we have done that, now let's see. Now we are going to try the second method of adding and connecting an activity using a connection coming out from the share stacked block. Point your mouse on the bottom edge of the block. The mouse icon will change to a chain link. Click the circle on the edge of the block and hold while holding down the mouse. Drag it a little bit toward the bottom of the screen. Notice that there is a connector coming from the edge of the block to your mouse pointer. When you release the mouse, the quick library will appear under the basic group. Click the delay activity. Okay. So all we are going to do, we are going to take our mouse and here once I take my mouse in one of the pointer, there are four pointer. Here is one, here is one, here is one, here is one. So I'm going to be clicking here, click and hold, and I'm going to release it, and it will open a quick library. And from the quick library of the basic, we are going to be taking a delay element. So it's going to be a delay element. So this delay element is going to be a delay of between 0 and 10 second. Okay, so if needed, here's a note that we can delete a connection by clicking it and pressing the delete key. So you can also change the connector settings by clicking on it and editing the settings in the properties. We can change the curve of the connection arrow by clicking it and using the control handles to change its curves. So this is pretty important. Once you can click on it, we can just click on the delete button and it will be deleted. So I'm just going to do undo, and you see there are some handles here. If you just drag it, click on it and drag it, you can control the spline. Okay, so based on your requirement you can do it. So under the shared asset group, click the release resource activity. Okay, so after the delay we have to release the uh, resources that we are going to be acquiring. So that should be under the shared asset tab. So here I'm going to take it, drag it, drop it on top of the delay to make it a group. Okay, so now that I have created a group, at this point we have tried using all different methods for adding activities. So using our preferred method, add and connect a sync activity after the release resource activity. So some activities can have more than one outgoing connector, okay? Such as the acquire resource activity. Create a second connector coming out of the acquire activity and connect it to the sync activity. So that we have to take a sync activity. Let's say one is going to be here on the right side, another one is going to be below the resources. So as it mentioned that one element can have more than one output connector. So you can see from Acquire there is already one connector, but it's also possible that we can have another connector that goes to the sync. Okay, so and from the release we have to connect it to this sync. Okay, now that we have done it, so we have to drag a resource activity from the shared asset. It shouldn't be connected to any other activities. It just needs to be there. So on the shared activities or the shared asset, we are going to take a resource block and let's say we are going to put it here. Another thing that when I'm dragging it, you can see some lines are appearing. This allows us to align the objects uh, and the flow is going to be look a little more professional, a little more clean. Okay. So once you have done that, the next step is to rename and resize the activities. So in this step, we are going to rename all of the activities to be more descriptive. This step will demonstrate two different methods for renaming activities. So be aware that changing an activity's name will have no effect on the way that my activity behaves. Okay, so it's just the name. So, but renaming activities will make your process flow a little more intuitive and understandable. So this step will explain how to resize activities since some of the activities will be too small to display new names using a readable font size. So when you finish this step, your process flow should look approximately like the following image. So these are the names they want us to be renaming. So we are going to do the same thing. We are going to rename our activities. Source, customer, arrival, acquire, delay is the service time, release is the end service, and sync is going to be the happy customer. And we have another sync which is going to be unhappy customers, and the resource is going to be service desk. Okay, now that we have done it, so the next thing is going to, so okay, so we have renamed all of it. So now we are going to resize it. So if it's okay, then it's okay, but if you want them to be a little more big, then you can just click on the elements and you can just expand them. Another thing that you can see, when you are going to be clicking the stacked block or element, you can see here is a scissor. So once we click on the scissor, it's going to separate these two stacked block. Okay. So once we separate, we have to connect it, or we need to put it on top of another to make it a stack. And both ways work. Okay. So it says that after each step, it's a good idea to have some space in between. Okay. So the third step is to edit the activity. So in this step, we will edit the properties for the activities we added in the previous step. The following is an overview of how the activities in this process flow will function. Okay, so we'll go through that. So there are two different ways we can edit an activity's properties. In this step, we will try out both of these methods. So click on the resource activity. So let's click on the resource service desk activity to open its properties directly in the process flow. Okay, so okay, if I just click on the store, it will create pop-up activities. Other than that, on the right side, it's also possible, but I think this is more handy and it looks good. So we are going to be using the default properties for now. Confirm that the count property is set to 1, meaning that there is only one resource available for now. Okay, that means let's say one service desk or one worker at the service desk. Now we are going to edit some activity properties using the properties pane. Click the source. Let's click on the source customer arrival, and here is the properties, and here you can see that the properties in the far right displays all the properties in this stacked block. Okay, so yeah, so it was a stacked block, so let's just make it a stacked block. Okay, so now that we have done it, we can see that we can see both of the properties once we click on this. So in the properties under the source customer arrival group, I'm going to expand it, and I'm going to check this one. So this will ensure that once when I run the model at the beginning, the customer arrives. Okay, so running. So notice that the entire arrival time is already set to use exponential statistical distribution with customers arriving randomly on an average between 0 and 3 seconds. So click the edit properties button to open the distribution chooser, and we need to change the scale to 0 to 60 to ensure that one customer is arriving between in every 1 minute. Okay, so now we are going to connect the acquire resources get service activity to the resource service. Okay, notice that there is a red exclamation icon to the right of the acquire resource get service activity. This means that this activity is not connected to a resource which is required, that means which is mandatory. So click the exclamation mark, the mouse will turn into a sampler icon to indicate you are in sampling mode. So when we are clicking on here, we can see there is a red exclamation mark here. So if we take our mouse on top of that, it's going to change to a sampler, and our model is going to enter a sampling mode. So I'm just going to click on the resource service desk. So now you can see it's connected. Okay, so click this. Okay, now it's connected and a blue line has appeared. So in the properties for the acquire resource activity, check the use max wait timer. So here under acquire get resource, I'm going to be checking use max wait timer. Okay. In the time box, change the time to 200 second. So this will make sure they will wait for a maximum of 200 second. Okay. So next to the on wait timer fired trigger, click the edit properties right here. On wait timer fired trigger, I'm going to be clicking on the edit properties. Click the arrow next to the release token. Pick list open pick list option. Okay. So here is the arrow, and in the destination box type 2. Okay, I'm going to be changing it to type 2. This setting will send customers tokens that reach the maximum wait time to the second connector. Okay, to the second connector. So this is what on time on wait timer fired. Okay, so you can see from here there are two output connector. One is from here, the one is from here. So you can see it mentions here 1, it mentions here 2. So once it triggers, that means when the 200 second is over and customer is waiting for more than 200 second, uh, it's going to send the token or the product through this connector. Okay, through this connector, and it will send to the red sync. Okay, so this okay, unhappy customers, everything here. So check your connection number. Okay, here is the connection number 1 and 2. So in order for the activities logic to work correctly, the outgoing connectors need to be correct. With the resource token activity selected, the connector to the delay should have a 1 next to it, and the connector to the sync should have a 2 next to it. If your connection numbers are reversed, you could delete them and reconnect the activities, making sure to connect the delay activity first. Alternately, you could click the connection and change rank numbers and properties. So let's okay, why did it disappear? Okay, here's a rank number. Okay, hmm. Okay. So in the properties of the delay service time, uh, we are going to change, and we're going to open the properties, and we are going to change the time. So it's going to be log normal. We're going to be using the log normal, not the exponential. So log normal 2, location is going to be minus 90, scale is going to be 3.1. So instead of minus, let's just put 90. Okay, and the shape is going to be 0.5. Now that you are done editing the process flow properties, consider saving your model. So it wants us to save the model again. So now they are telling us to run the simulation. So running a process flow simulation is just the same as running a simulation for a standard 3D model. Once the simulation starts, tokens will move through the process flow activities. As a token enters each activity, it will apply that the activity's logic. To run the simulation model, on the simulation control bar, click the arrow next to the run speed. In the custom box, range the time to 100. On the simulation control bar, press the reset button to clear any data from the process flow. Then press the run button to watch the simulation at work. So first thing, we are going to reset and we are going to run. Okay. So now I can see the tokens are being processed. Okay. Tokens are being processed. So I'm going to stop and I'm going to reset. Okay, so as you watch the simulation, you should see the following. There should only be one token at a time in the delay service representing a customer being helped. There should be multiple tokens waiting in acquire get service activity, which is actually right. You will see tokens inside the acquire, get service activity, and the delay. Service time activity, all of the other activities perform the logic in zero time with no created events, so they won't show tokens moving through them. If you want them to see a token moving through each activity, you can use the step button on the simulation control bar to step a token through each of the activities. So let's say when we are running the simulation, we can just stop it and we can use the step button to show the tokens moving. Okay. Hmm. Okay. So we will notice there is a green and the red circle that will appear on the resource. Uh, that will appear on the resource. In this case, there is only one resource available, so this number will never be any higher than 1. So it's only 1, okay? So the red icon is the number of tokens that are attempting to acquire a resource but cannot because there isn't any available. Okay. Okay. So the next step, create a process flow chart. Now that all the logic of our process flow is set up, we will create a dashboard. We will create a dashboard. Where is that? To record the number of happy customers and unhappy customers created by this process flow. We will pin the input versus time statistics for the sync unhappy customers to the dashboard you created in the previous tutorial task. So the process for pinning statistics for a process flow is nearly identical to the one for 3D object. When you pin a statistics to the dashboard, it will automatically create a statistics collector. In this step, you will edit uh, the statistics collector so that it listens to both the unhappy customers and the happy customer syncs. We will also pin the stay time for the acquire get service activity, which is analogous to the customer waiting line in the 3D model. To pin the statistics, click the sync happy customers activity. In the properties, click the statistics button. In properties, click the statistics button, which is here. And we will want to track how many tokens enter this activity. So next to the input box, click the pin button, pin to customer service metrics, point to pin to customer service metrics, and then select input versus time. Okay, so this has created that. So next, click the chart to view its properties in the properties pane. In the text, change the customer, uh, change the customer's process flow. So we're going to check the custom title, and we are going to add customers, like something has to be customers process flow. Okay, customers process flow. In the options panel, click the sampler button above the activities list to the enter sampling mode. Okay, we need to go to the process flow. Okay, so we're going to click here. We're going to take the sampler. We're going to take our mouse over the process flow, and this will appear. Okay, so this is very important, and we're going to be directing it to the happy customers. Okay, so now that we have added the sampler, let's say we also need to, okay, it has to be unhappy customers. Okay, it had to be unhappy customers. Okay, so let's hit reset. Okay, so this will show me the unhappy customers over time. Okay, so next we are going to create a histogram showing the stay time and statistics of the acquire get service activity. Double click in the blank area of the customer service dashboard, and in the pop-up library, in the stay time section, click on stay time. Okay, stay of okay stay time. Okay, then click on that and take a bar chart or a hist. Okay, we need a histogram. Okay, once we have created a histogram, it will add it to the dashboard. Here is it. Okay, reset. Where did the dashboard go? Hmm. I'm just going to drag it. Click on the new chart to view its properties. So here is the properties, and we are going to add a custom title called wait time process flow. Okay, custom title is going to be called wait time process flow. Okay, in the options sampler and get service. Get service. Okay, let's go to the options. Let's take the sampler. Let's go to the process flow and let's pick this. Okay, consider saving your simulation work. Now analyze the data. Let's run it so I can see some unhappy customers and happy customers here. Okay, this is a time chart. This is statistics sources. Okay, okay. So that's it for the process flow from this chapter. So in the next video, we are going to be linking the 3D model with the process flow model. That means we are going to create a hybrid model. Okay, so like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below if you have any questions or if you want any specific tutorials regarding FlexSim or any logic. So have a good day and see you in the next video. Thank you.